Hello, wonderful teacher. Justin Slocum Bailey here from TeachHuman, where we believe with all our hearts that teaching and learning well shouldn't cost anyone their health or their identity. And this video ties right in with that because it's all about crafting a teacher life for yourself with both growth and health in mind. Now, when I say teacher life, I'm referring to the fact that for people like you and me who really care about teaching, who deeply care about our students, who care about improving the systems in which we teach and learn, our role as teachers and our overall humanness can become really tightly wound up together. And that's not inherently or entirely a bad thing, right? Teaching is a core human act. We do it not just in the classroom, but in lots of areas in life. People who aren't teachers by trade are still teaching various people in various ways. So it's normal for our teacherness and our humanness to be bound up together somehow. At the same time, as you probably know all too well, teaching-related activities and teaching-related thoughts can take over our lives. Not just outside of school, but even at school, even during contract time. Teaching things that we care about because we're teachers can become so strong and so heavy that they become actually bad for us as people, bad for our health, and bad for our relationships. So if we want a life and work that's growth-filled and healthy, we got to do something about that. And we got to do things consciously and carefully and courageously because no one is going to do it for us. The system isn't suddenly going to get easier. Now, we can work to change the system, but in the meantime, we need to do things for our own growth and health. This isn't just about balance. We hear and maybe use the phrase work-life balance, right? But that image suggests that work, and in this case teaching, is over here and life is completely separate over here, on opposite ends of a fulcrum. One goes up, the other goes down. And for people like you and me who really care about our work, and for work like teaching that's such a fundamentally human thing, there's a lot more to it. So that's why I like the concept of designing a teacher life for health and growth. There are lots of ways that we could think of that, lots of things that could go into that. In this video, I want to touch on 5 components, 5 phases really, it's a progression, that go into designing a healthy teacher life. I'll just list the 5 phases first, then I'll go into a bit more detail, and finally I'll suggest some ways you can take it from here. Number 1 is setting wise intentions and goals. Number 2 is planning for justice. Number 3 is cycles of conscious growth. Number 4 is figuring out how to work less. And number 5 is accountability and sustainability. As you hear and look at that list, I'd love to know if already, before even seeing more explanation, one of those stands out to you as one that you especially struggle with, or one in which you'd especially like to grow. Let me know in the comments down below which one of those it is for you. Feel free to pause the video to do that. Okay, phase 1, setting wise intentions and goals. Not just setting goals, but setting wise ones. Why? Because my goals, your goals, they might be unwise for some reason or another. Maybe there are too many. Maybe trying to reach one or more of them will break us. Maybe some of them are actually, on closer inspection, contradictory. And if we launch ourselves into pursuing unwise goals, even if we do it well, maybe even especially if we do it well, we can end up pretty far from the path that we wanted to be on. So we want to make sure that our intentions and our goals are wisely crafted. Now, as you go through the process, through the other phases, you might discover new intentions and goals that you want to pursue, but it's good to identify some baseline intentions and goals in the first place. Phase 2 is planning for justice. And by justice, I basically mean doing right by people, both the students who are in your class and anyone that your students might form opinions about based on your class. Doing right by people includes everything from shunning stereotypes to making sure our students see themselves represented frequently and positively in our materials, everything from using inclusive language to countering the ways in which assignments or assessments might set students who don't have a lot of money or don't have a lot of free time or don't have prior educational opportunities up for failure. Planning means actually spending time and energy consciously thinking about how you'll pursue that justice in your practice as a teacher and making that thought a core part of planning lessons, assignments, and assessments. If you don't make planning for justice a priority, something you focus on early in this process, there's a good chance it won't happen at all, and we do not want to make justice an afterthought. Phase 3 is conscious growth, and more specifically, cycles of conscious growth. Because while it is possible to try to just grow a little bit every day, to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be a little bit better than I was yesterday, it's actually not a terrible outlook on life overall. the kinds of conscious, healthy growth that we're aiming for here as teachers really benefits from known established time intervals, maybe different intervals for different goals, but established time intervals that make the actions involved more manageable and that make it easier for us to check in with our growth and with our living in general and make adjustments if necessary. Phase 4, one we've all been waiting for, is figuring out ways to work less. You've probably heard the phrase work smarter, not harder. How about just work less? Teachers tend to do an incredible amount of work. You do an incredible amount of work. A lot of that work doesn't necessarily need to be done by you. A lot of it might not need to be done by anybody. And some of it is work that you might have actually kind of done already and just not realize in the moment that it applies. If you want to have a better teacher life, you don't want to do work that you don't truly have to do. That's actually so valuable that I devoted the first video on this channel to it. You can check that out for 3 ways to work less as a teacher. Last but not least, phase 5 of designing a good teacher life is accountability and sustainability. Long-term growth as a teacher and a person requires practices that we can sustain over time, and that's much more likely to happen if we're accountable to other people and or to a system. So there are 5 phases of designing a healthy, growth-filled teacher life. But before I close, I want to point out something crucial, which is that a lot of the things that I've mentioned might seem like they're really focused on the individual, on you as the teacher who wants to grow, on me as the teacher and person who wants to be healthy. And a lot of the things that I've mentioned are things that only we as individuals can do, sometimes in partnership with other people, like I said in the last phase. But a lot of the things I've shared are necessary only because the systems in which we live and work are messed up. Systems from our departments to our schools to districts to counties, states, nations are messed up in countless and overwhelming ways. And some of us are working to change those systems. While that work happens, if we want to survive, let alone thrive, we need to design and claim a healthy teacher life. I care about this so much. I've actually created a lot of resources and entire trainings around these 5 phases and the overall concept of designing a teacher life. I've linked those in the video description below in case they can help you design the teacher life that you want. Check out those resources along with the other videos on this channel. If you want there to be more of those, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, comment, and of course, share with your colleagues and friends. I'll see you next time.